nothing to lose because you don't. And when you realize that, that's when you make the decision that you're going to play your best. Because if you don't have it tomorrow. You don't get another 48 minutes. That's what we're here for. The pride, the tradition, the family. Yeah, about the guys in this room. Nothing else. 48 minutes for everybody who's here. Do you understand me?
Yes, Coach.
Do you understand me?
Yes, Coach.
Welcome back to CFB Nation. You are watching P2P with Boomer and DDP. I am your host, Nino Brown, a.k.a. DDP, and my co-host, to the other side of me, Boomer, a.k.a. Jared Gray. Episode 55, my man. What are your thoughts here? You think we get this far?
I mean, I knew we would get this far. Like we talked from the get-go. We knew we had chemistry, and this was meant to be. I didn't think we would be where we're at. I mean, we are absolutely to the moon right now, growing. Yeah. And the CFB Nation, the guys, the crew that we have together right now, we just talked about it on head-to-head recently that I think we have how many 15 spring games that we have lined up.
Yeah, about 15, yeah.
And, with everything that they're going through, we've got media days coming up. We've got interviews out the yang, to be honest with you. I'm really happy for all the guys. I hope everybody is loving the content. I know that we're loving putting it out, and we're not holding back on anybody. We also are giving a lot of different fan bases different talks. And, this one, I can't wait to talk about Wisconsin. There's so much love here. So,
yeah, I think this is going to be a good episode. I think people are going to be I think that the fans watching at home, I think they're going to know a little bit more about the Badgers football and they'll be a little more intrigued coming into this year after this episode. But before we dive in to Badger Nation, we got a couple headlines, in the past week or so that have happened, kind of changing the landscape of things. Right off rip, I put this on the map because this is for you. I know you're a Navy guy, right? UCLA hires ex-Navy head coach Ken
Niumatalolo.
There you go, for an advisory role. What are your thoughts about UCLA hiring the guy?
So I'm happy that he got another chance. You don't go to Navy to go be somewhere else. Like, it is a tradition. It's, just trying to continue a really tough program. We're all about tradition and everything there. And, obviously, you're a retired Navy chief. I'm surrounded by it, obviously. So it's ingrained in me. Army-Navy game is by itself for a reason. So to lose that job stinks for him. Yeah. To understand who he is and how disciplined his team is, that's why you hire the guy. Like, they're disciplined. So you got to continue to hire people that can have a team that has 5 penalties all year. So that's an advisor role that I'm willing to hire. So I'm down for it. And obviously we've got some Carson Steele love down at UCLA. So, that's our guy. And, we will always be rooting for some UCLA because Carson Steele right now. So,
yeah, 100%. And, I'm glad you mentioned Carson because, like, Ken and Navy, they just run the ball, right? Now, I'm not saying UCLA is going to run the ball because you got Dante Moore or Colin Shee, at quarterback, whoever that may be. That's a battle for another day. But I think he's going to kind of put a little bug in the ear, be like, hey, this play worked here at Navy. Maybe we can implement this and get Carson,
He's going to have 1,000 yards rushing this year. I'm going to mark it down. It's happening. So.
Oh, I agree 100%. I just had a conversation with John Laub on my first episode of CFB Prime, and we were ranking, our top backs going into 2024. And I had Carson Steele in the 6 or 7 range. He had him a little bit lower, but he says that if he puts up numbers like he did in the MAC, that he's going to rise boards instantaneously.
He looks shredded, by the way.
Oh, bro. Insane. I seen the picture today with the soft shell helmet.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Dude.
Shredded.
Yeah, he looked like Chase Brown type shredded. Like he's ready to rock. So it's going to be interesting. Another thing, and this was a big one. Michigan's been landing a couple big guys. They just landed overall 35th overall prospect in 2024 quarterback Jaden Davis. He's a 5-star, right? Like, This is probably the biggest quarterback landed in Ann Arbor in the whole Jim Harbaugh era, probably in the last 35, 40 years, right?
It's, in my opinion, he's probably the highest quarterback rated since Drew Henson. So
we're going back like 25 years or so?
I mean, we're talking, yeah, when Brady was there. So,
right.
When Breesy, Drew Henson, that quarterback room was ridiculous, by the way. And this is the best quarterback recruit that they've had. So huge for him. Great idea, by the way, by the recruit to, hey, you know what? I who do I got to really stand up to? Because none of y'all really know Brady even went to freaking Michigan except for 1 year playing behind these studs, wins a Rose Bowl and becomes the GOAT. So
right.
I love it for him because he could be one of the better quarterbacks to play out of Michigan in a long time. So I'm here for it.
Now, my other question regarding Wolverines, right, is everything's trending in the right direction for them. They just signed, I believe they just got the recruit on the offensive tackle, right? He was a 4-star guy. They just got him to commit. They beat Ohio State the last couple of seasons. Got the monkey off the back. If Ohio State doesn't beat Michigan this year, are we talking about a total like swing of like the whole scenery? Has Michigan surpassed them as the powerhouse?
Well, I told you I thought Ryan Day was on the hot seat already. So if they lose again, the only reason they're not on the hot seat is they got lucky to get in the playoffs. And if they'd have won they would have probably won it all. So he saved himself. Ryan Day saved him a few years because of that. I'll tell you that right now. Because it was so close to him not making the playoffs, being on the hot seat.
Right.
He said stud after stud. The recruiting class is crazy. They can't fire Day because of the recruiting class they continues to bring in. But he has to continue to put up good numbers. And saying he's on a hot seat is hard to say, but I'm telling you, there was a lot of chatter, and we're not some small group here anymore. So
I feel you. I heard the chatter. I think this is a big game for them this year. I think they got to come out of there with a W or the whole.
It's gonna be a fun one.
The top's gonna spin real fast if they can't get this W.
We might have to try to look at tickets for that one.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big one. We spoke about this guy, and I spoke with him heavily with KT on CFB Nation. It's 4-star recruit, QB recruit of this class, Jake Merklinger. I think he's a dude. I think he's gonna be a top QB in the class. A lot of people kind of weren't talking about him because he was one of the later guys to commit, but he went down to go see my boy Josh Heupel, and he's going to play behind. He knows Nico's the guy, but he knows that Nico's probably not going to be there the whole time. Okay, you got to go in there, learn from Heupel in that system where it pretty much puts quarterback into a. I talked about it with Travis May yesterday. There's no NFL system like Tennessee. Okay, like there's no other college system pretty much like Tennessee. It doesn't exist anywhere else but in Tennessee. So he can go there, put up huge, gaudy numbers, right? Look good. Learn from two dudes with Heupel and Nico there, and I think he could propel himself into being a talk of this class. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I really like it. Obviously, Hawkins committing to OU's big as well.
Right.
I think that those two names are going to be something we're going to be talking about because both are behind premier quarterbacks from last year's class, both being 4-star guys. Both could easily, battle each other, when we're talking about in 2 years because Arnold's my guy. Nico's your guy. We understand. That's going to be really fun. I think it's smart in the aspect you're going to learn. It's just who's going to transfer. So, I think it's smart to get in early and learn. And if something happens to Nico, then you're there.
Right.
Even if he decides to leave early. So, and I think that's not too far from being one of those things where we're seeing the NFL saying, hey, you don't really need 2 years. You could have 1 year and go to the NFL because we're watching 1-year players, possibly first-round draft picks coming up this year in AR. Right. So you had one season and it wasn't a good season. You're just a super athlete and you might be a first-round draft pick. So if you can say that, then we can say that for freshmen. I mean, Drake May would be a first-round draft pick.
Agreed, 100%. I agree with you 100%. We talk about Ryan Day. We're talking quarterbacks. I don't have him on the docket, but I'm a sicko and I'm involved in everything. Ohio State just signed another 4-star dude, Aaron Nolan, and he's not a chump, dude. He's legit. I like Nolan as much as I like Nico. Nolan's my guy in this class. So I think that was huge for them. I think his athleticism, I think he's got more athleticism than a lot of the gentlemen in front of him. Now, I'm a big McCord fan. I think it's going to be McCord DA. He's going to put himself in the top 5 going into next year's draft. But full athleticism, mobility, I don't think Ohio State's really kind of – I know they had Fields, right? But they haven't had – he hasn't really been too successful in the NFL, right? He's more successful on the ground than throwing. I think Nolan brings that full package.
Yeah, I think it takes you a little bit back to like some Charlie Ward type of player.
Troy Smith, Charlie. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with that. Like, he got a cannon. He's super mobile, right? He's super athletic. I want to see what he's got. I mean, it would be funny if he was the dude, right, that emerged out of this own. And you had mentioned Hawkins, which maybe brought up Nolan because Hawkins committed right after Nolan announced his commitment. Like, he was kind of waiting to see where you're going. I'm not going where you're going, homie. I'm going to go the opposite direction. And once Nolan, said Ohio State, Hawkins chose Oklahoma. I think they were both good landing spots for both the gentlemen. So that's our QB talk for 2024. But we got one more guy going to Ohio State, and this is the big one. They got a big RB room right now. This kid is legit. What I read is he looks what
he gets Saquon.
Hayes.
He's getting Saquon comparisons. So
yeah, James Peoples is getting it right now. But I'm hearing that they're comparing him to Justice Hayes, and Justice Hayes' footwork in that video that I saw today. But he looks like a seasoned veteran. He is real as it gets. So I'm excited to see Peoples. I think Peoples is going to be a dude.
Yeah, I like him. He's not as big as I was hoping he would be. And I know that he was on Oklahoma's radar.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, I really think, they had him crystal ball to Oklahoma. I said, listen, not from what I'm hearing. I heard it was Ohio State, and we just turned out to be right, at CFB Nation, that I just didn't expect him to commit so early.
Yeah.
But he ain't trying to mess around, like Ohio State ain't trying to mess around. Their recruiting class right now is crazy.
Between wide receivers and running backs and O linemen, they're locking up. Hey, good for them. Like, they needed that. Like we said, they knew their backs are against the wall a little bit in this because Michigan's been kind of throwing haymakers at them, and they just been eating them.
But you know who else quarterbacks room's really impressive right now?
Who's that?
Wisconsin.
Let's dive in to Wisconsin. I know you got a guy in the fight here, a little dog in the fight.
I got 2 guys in the fight.
Oh, you do? It's actually, yeah, you're right. You do got 2 guys in the fight. That's funny. All right. You can start it off then. You break us into Wisconsin.
So obviously 2 quarterbacks formerly from Oklahoma, right? Obviously, we could talk about the quarterback and, coaches and stuff like that. We'll get right to it. But obviously, Tanner Mordecai coming in after our guy Nick Evers commits and transfers. I don't think Nick was really excited about this move because he probably was thinking, I'm going to come in, I'm going to be the guy, this is my system, this is my chance to be a starting quarterback in a place that doesn't really throw the ball a ton, who has a dominant running back, and he's probably thinking, I'm the guy. And then Tanner, who left the year before, a couple years before he got there at Oklahoma, goes and balls out at SMU, really plays well, grad transfers. He ain't coming in to sit the bench being a grad transfer. So he's a 6-year senior coming from SMU in Oklahoma. He's 6'2", 215 pounds. He slings it 65%. 3,500 yards last year, 33 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Hey, 33 and 10 is really good numbers, right?
Yes.
100 rushing yards, not a rushing guy whatsoever. That's where Nick really gets him. He's a redshirt freshman. 6'3", 190 pounds. I think he gets to 210, to be honest. I'm really surprised he isn't bigger anyway, considering the program he just left, because Smitty does not mess around. You see the Oklahoma running backs. We talked about that. Those guys are averaging 10 pounds of weight putting on. It's crazy. So I think Evers gets to 210 pretty easily, being 6'3". He slings it. He's more athletic than Tanner is. So I'm really excited to see that competition. It's one that I've been headstrong into in general because they're both Oklahoma guys and I'm an Oklahoma guy. So I'm rooting for Nick to actually be the guy. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be the guy because Tanner's a 6-year senior. And Tanner has the opportunity to be a backup quarterback in the NFL. But Nick is he could be the guy to really step and move them forward athletically because they already have a phenomenal running back. So I need a quarterback that can sling it.
And
So,
I agree that they got a phenomenal running back. And I agree, both guys from Oklahoma have talent. It's just suspect that it was a week, right? Evers signed. A week later, Mordecai signed. I think they both signed for one reason. Offensive coordinator, Longo. Okay? Right? And I don't think Evers has a problem with it, knowing that Mordecai is one and done.
Yeah.
So you come in, you get a little experience behind the guy. Maybe
but Braden's there too. Braden Locke, we're not, talking about Mississippi State transfer, Braden Locke, 4-star recruit. He's another guy. He's a dude.
Yes.
Strong quarterback room.
And I like Evers and Brady to battle it out going forward, right? But they were kind of pushing Rodgers out the door at Mississippi State. And they're kind of still pushing him out the door. Like, he's there, but I don't even know if he's going to be the starter. He might lose his job to Mike Wright.
I'm sorry. I don't know how you tell a guy who throws 70% that he's out the door.
Hey, our insider at the Senior Bowl told us this, correct? And
yep.
So it's I don't know. And I'm reading about it, and there's no lock that Rodgers is going to be the QB1 right now. It's a straight competition going on in Mississippi State. So, he couldn't get on the field then. I know he was young. I get it. I understand. He's a freshman. But that's not a bad room to have. 2 redshirt freshmen coming in, right? That, 3 and 4 stars. I think Evers is going to be the backup. I think Mordecai is going to be the guy. I think Mordecai doesn't even really lose a step because before I break everything down and I start talking about wide receivers, I'll give you the running back because that's your dude. I'm not going to take that away from you. I would never do that to you. You've been pounding the table about this guy for a year now, so I wouldn't do that to you. I'm going to talk about these coaches and what they bring to the table. Obviously, a big change, right? Luke Fickell's the head coach. He was in Cincinnati in 2022. In 7 years.
Home run hire. That's a home
run. Knocked out the puck, and Cincinnati panicked and hit a bunt out when they went and got Satterfield. In my eyes, right? That in my eyes, you feel a winner with. I hate to say it, but you're kind of like a habitual loser. In reality, like record-wise, right? But 7 years, 64-25. That's 71% winning percentage. In 6 bowl games, he's 500, 3-3. 2021, he had the Bearcats ranked number 2 in the nation. Never heard of. Nobody ever would have thought about that ever. There was, it was the first time outside of a P5 school to be ranked that high, right? So, that alone, kudos to you, Phil. Just that alone. It was ACC Coach of the Year. Now, he brings in a guy, and I think this is the main reason a lot of these transfers and reasons guys didn't transfer out was because of this guy. That is offensive coordinator Phil Longo, right? He was OC for Sam Houston from 2014 to 2016. That offense averaged over 500 yards a game. Dude. That's big boy numbers, okay? Then at Ole Miss, he was there from 2017 2018. I got 2 names for you. A.J. Brown and Elijah Moore. Their numbers were stupid at Ole Miss. Dumb. Catch percentage, just yardage, touchdowns, insane. Offensive coordinator for North Carolina for the last 3 years was Phil Longo. Who went off for the last 2 years in North Carolina? Josh Downs.
And 2 quarterbacks.
And yeah, exactly. Sam Howell and Drake May, right? Balling out. Now you bring him into Wisconsin. These 2 quarterbacks saw that and said, I'm all in. But I got a guy, the wide receiver department, that I think could be a Josh Downs, possibly be, I'm not saying he's A.J. Brown in the talent level, but I think the scheme and what he has for talent, I think he can step up. And that's Chimere Dike. He's a senior, 6'1", 198 pounds. Last year, he had, in 13 games, he had 47 receptions, 689 yards, 6 touchdowns. He averaged 14.7 yards per catch. He's taking all the wide receiver 1 reps right now. Now he is getting pushed. I'm not going to lie to you. C.J. Williams is balling out, right? He got recruited by USC for a reason, all right? C.J. Williams, the second practice on, has made some insane athletic catches. He's getting super separation off the line. He's coming to his own. I don't think he's nervous anymore. I think at USC, he thought he had to do a little bit more than what he needed to get on the field because of all that talent in the wide receiver department. At Wisconsin, outside of Dike, I don't think that there's, the talent level's high. I think C.J. Williams is going to be a guy. I think he's going to push my guy Dike, for that wide receiver 1 position. But right now, Dike's wide receiver 1. Then you got Skylar Bell. He's been taking also team 1 reps on the other side. He's a redshirt sophomore, 6 foot, 195 pounds, 13 games last year. He had 30 receptions, 440 yards, 5 touchdowns, close to 15 yards per catch. He also ran the ball 13 times for 160 yards. And then Keontae Lewis is a junior, 6'3", 197. He played 12 games. He had 20 receptions, 313, 3 touchdowns. He averaged almost 16 yards per catch. So those are your, I call them team 1 from everything I'm reading in spring practices. These are your alphas, right? These guys that are taking all the team 1 reps. When it comes down to those final drives, 7 these are the guys. Then you got, there's a couple other wide receivers in the department. You got, like I said, I mentioned C.J. Williams, Will Pauling, redshirt sophomore. Where's he coming from? Cincinnati with Luke Fickell, 5'10", 186 pounds. He only had 12 receptions last year, 122 yards, but he's familiar with Fickell. He's familiar with the system. Another guy's coming over from Cincinnati, redshirt freshman Quincy Burrows, who I'm hearing good things about in spring. Looking quick, got good hands, 6'3", 202 pounds. And then you got a bunch of guys on team 3 that are doing their thing. Chris Brooks Jr., he's a redshirt freshman. Vinny Anthony's a junior. He had 3 receptions last year, nothing crazy. Tommy McIntosh, he's a redshirt freshman, 6'5", 204.
He's massive.
That's a big man, dude, 6'5". And then Bryson Green, he's a dude that I need everybody to keep a name out for, all right? Watch out for him. He's not practicing at all in the spring. He's coming over an injury, but he also was a transfer from OK State, 6'1", 205. I mean, he had 36 receptions, 584 yards, 5 touchdowns. He averaged a gaudy 16.2 yards per catch, Jared. They got some dudes in the wide receiver department.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. This offense can be completely different. I mean, Wisconsin is going to be a top 4 Big Ten team. Love it or hate it, whether you like it. I'm not just saying offensively. I'm saying the whole thing. It's going to be completely different because the offense wasn't staying on the field last year.
No,
the defense won't have to stay on the field this year because the offense is going to be crazy. We just talked about the wide receivers. We just talked about the quarterback. And you have a first-round running back in Braelon Allen who is an absolute dude. I mean, I have been pounding the table, like you said. I've been on the train, and I'm probably the conductor at this point, to be honest with you. I have been – you don't see freshman running back come in and do what he did. And then it was like, he's going to have a sophomore slump. Well, my man had, at 238 pounds, comes in at 230 attempts, 1,242 yards, 5.4 yards per carry, 11 touchdowns, only 13 receptions. That's going to change, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
That it's going to be fun because of that. Then you got Malusi. Ches Malusi had played 9 games, 112 attempts, just kind of the backup running back so we can – change the pace, 473 yards, 4.2 yards per carry, and 2 touchdowns. Listen, 230 pounds and moves as fluid as he does. I said he's Derrick Henry before probably anybody else. because you don't be 238 pounds and absolutely pound people and move the way you do.
Yeah, no.
Unless it's hard you compare to anybody to Derrick Henry, right? He's massive. This dude is massive. Braelon Allen is a dude.
Yeah.
He's a first-round talent. He's, sure, he's got a lot of carries, but 230 attempts really isn't a ton considering the amount of attempts you've seen Wisconsin running backs have.
Thank you. That was my point next. How many guys had 300 or more? Ron Dane, right? Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
Like, they just eat up 300 carries. Like, it's nothing.
Ronnie Bell. Sorry, Ronnie went to Michigan State, but the list is crazy.
Right.
So
Melvin Gordon.
230 is nothing. Melvin Gordon is another good one. And this dude's twice the size Melvin Gordon is. He's twice the size Jonathan Taylor is. 238 pounds and shredded like a, he's a Greek god. This dude is impressive. He's one of those guys. I would if he decided he was wanting to sit out and like, you know what, coach, I appreciate you, but I'm going to be a first round running back next year. And Traegon Harrison, that I would say right now the Big Ten has the top 3 running backs in the NFL, or right now as a group, right? You don't think so?
Raheem Sanders is RB1.
More than Singleton.
I'm in the class.
Oh, I'm talking about just in college.
Oh, yeah, that Big Ten, yeah.
So the Big Ten has Singleton, Allen, and Henderson, top of my head, right? And all 3 of those guys are absolute monsters. They're, if you're drafting like we do in fantasy in college football, all 3 of them I'm down to have because they're just going to continue to eat.
Yeah.
And I'm so impressed, to be honest with you, by the sheer power this offense is going to have, because we haven't seen a passing, running offense.
One-dimensional for years.
I honestly don't remember the last Wisconsin team that I'd be like, oh, they're going to blow the doors off you. You knew it was coming, and honestly, you still couldn't stop it last year. And my guy still averaged 5 yards a carry. I'm going to tell you right now, Braelon Allen's going to average 7 yards a carry this year.
But they can't stack the box.
Exactly. That's why he's going to average 7 yards a carry.
My thing is, and I spoke to John Lobb about him, I got him at 2. I was running back 2 in the class, right? I think Lobb has him at 5, somewhere right around that thing. And Lobb's point played off why I have him higher. He needs to see more hands, more receptions out the backfield, especially going to the NFL. But now you're spreading the offense out, and you bring in an offensive coordinator who spreads the ball, right? Which is going to give you a non-stack box. You're going to let Braelon Allen roll out on screens in one-on-one coverage against a safety? Good luck. Good luck, dude. You ain't.
This dude's 19 years old, bro.
That's the thing, and he can get drafted at 19. Like, he's still going to be 19 when the draft comes.
Freaking crazy.
So that is going to be having GM salivating at the mouth, because you're going to get, if you draft him in the first round, you get 5 years. After that rookie deal, he's still only 24 years old.
It's just crazy to me, dude. Like,
and then Hooker's 25. You know what I'm saying? Like, this kid could play a full rookie deal and not even be Hendon Hooker's age.
Yeah.
Insane.
Here's my thing. And for what does Braelon Allen's 40 have to be for you to say, I'm going to draft him in the first round?
Low 4.4, right? Are you going to be low?
Dude, if he runs a 4.4, 240 pounds,
he's got to run. He's got to run something eye popping.
Dude, Leonard Fournette ran a 4.5, right?
Yeah.
So
he was a Jacksonville picked him in the first round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the thing is.
Are you sure it was the first round?
Yeah.
At the end of the first round, right?
No, I think like 7th pick.
But I thought Saquon Barkley was the last running back taken in the first round.
I'm pretty sure Leonard Fournette was taken in the first round.
Oh, he was before Saquon. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 years before. That's right.
Yeah. So
no, you are right. He was taken in the top 10 because Homeboy was drafted in the second round and Geis, right? And he never even panned out.
Yeah, and we said I wasn't a fan. Like I
Right.
just the attitudes. That's another thing about Braelon Allen. He's a good kid.
Yes.
Like he's got a great head on his shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's like I said, he's 19.
Yeah.
I am enamored. And here's the thing, he has 25 receptions, right? And
It's all
continues.
over.
It's
all
over.
Over. Yeah, all over. He puts up 1,400 yards, right? Averaging, over 6 yards per carry with 20 receptions for like 2-something and a couple tutties. It's all over. Like he might even pass Sanders for RB1 in the class because what the question mark is his hands. Can he do anything outside of running? If he gets 25 plus catches, I mean, if he gets 30-something targets, it's a wrap.
Yeah, I'm. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm just going to state this now. Braelon Allen's going to win the Doak Walker.
Ooh, I love it. People at home, put it on your calendar, put it on your dry erase boards. Boomer's calling it now. Doak Walker, Braelon Allen.
I don't plant a lot of flags in the spring. I'm planting this one.
I love it. I think the opportunity is there. I think this is probably the best roster and coaching staff he's seen. I think, all signs point up. But let's talk about the guys up front. They're going to block for him and a couple tight ends that he's got. He got some big tight ends. He got 3 tight ends, right? Clay Cundiff, he's a senior. He's 6'5", 240. He had 142 yards last year. He averaged almost close to 16 yards per catch. He's out all spring. He's recovering from an injury. But what I'm hearing right now is Hayden Rucci. He's senior, 6'4", 260. That's right, 260. In 10 games last year, he had 75 yards and a touchdown. He's been balling out in the spring, and he looks really, really good. He's been taking all the first-team reps. Obviously, Cundiff's not there, but Rucci's been, capitalizing on the moment. Then you got Jake Eschenbach. He's a senior, 6'6", dude, 245 pounds. He had 14 receptions last year for 120 yards.
Eschenbach reminds me of like a Kuntz.
Yeah. Monster. He's just mountain man. These guys are big.
He's 6'8", but I mean,
6'6", 6'7", 6'8". That's all enormous size. I don't give it. All right. Now on the O-line, I watched a couple videos. I watched an interview with offensive line coach Jack Bickle Jr. He said straight out, it's not going to be a 5-man front. They want to rotate 7 to 9 offensive linemen throughout the game.
Well, when every single one of them are over 300 pounds,
you have no choice. Yeah, you have to. So they're returning. This is what's crazy. Is they return their starting 5 from left to right. Jack Nelson. Jack Nelson's 6'7", 310 pounds. You got Michael Furtney, 6'5", 310 pounds. Tanner Bortolini, 6'4", 313 pounds. Trey Wegded, 6'7", 315 pounds. And then Riley Malman, 6'8", 316 pounds. And then Fickell brought more guys. Jack Renfro, right? He's out all spring due to a leg injury. He's a dude. He was a dude for Cincinnati. He is going to be a dude for Wisconsin. 6'3", 308. And he also brought in Joe Huber, a Cincinnati Bearcats transfer. He had 13 starts on the offensive line last year in 2022 for the Bearcats. Expect to see rotation. A lot of names in, a lot of names out. Once Renfro and Huber are at 100% healthy, I think these guys are going to be leading that line. Obviously, they know what Fickell likes coming from Cincinnati. What are your thoughts about you returning to 5 starters, dude?
I'm going to give you another flag plant. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Wisconsin is going to be a top 5 finalist for the Joe Moore Award, which is the top 5, which is a top unit, right, of the offensive line.
Yeah,
I have them as a top 5 right now, and that means they're a finalist.
Right.
So in the spring, I'm calling them going to be a Joe Moore finalist right now. So that's how good this is going to be.
My man is throwing out nuggets, and I love it. Boomer, take us into this defense. Talk about, so tell me about this line.
Well, let's just get right to the defense. They weren't phenomenal. Well, they were pretty phenomenal. 24th in the league last year, 9th in yards per game, 308, 102.8 yards per game, or 102.8 yards, or rushing yards per game, right? Which is pretty impressive. It's top 10. Passing, 30th. That's got to come down. It's still great. Every category top 30. You gotta love it. 1.5 takeaways. If we can get that to 2.5, they're going to be scary. I love the team overall. If you can stay right there and let the offensive be a little stronger, I think you're going to see Wisconsin. They're going to upset some people this year that they don't want to be upset by.
And I think that Ohio State-Michigan game means more now, right?
It's going to have to, because I think Wisconsin's going to get Michigan this year.
And Nebraska, like both of those teams are good.
Yeah, the Big Ten is going to be a lot of fun to watch this year. But let's get right to it. Rodis Johnson, defensive end, senior, 6'2", 300 pounds, 299. 13 games, 23 tackles, 9 solo tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 1 sack. I'd love to see that come up. 2 pass deflections. We've seen these big guys get up and get their hands on stuff. 5 quarterback hurries. That's definitely got to stop. Come up. 13 run stops. Rodis has got to step up. I think we're going to see it. He's more of a set the edge guy.
Yes.
Instead of being your top rusher, he's more of an Atabarwe type of guy.
Yes.
Right? Dorian Varner, Temple transfer, love him. 6'3", 275 pounds, 35 tackles, 25 solo, 12.5 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks, a forced fumble. Varner's going to demand a lot more than Rodis is, and I'm here for it. I absolutely love him. I think he was great at Temple. I'm a Temple fan because one of my close friends, Henry Burris, went there, was a quarterback at Temple from Spiro. So I'm always follow Temple in some aspect. So seeing Varner, it's going to be a good one. Gio Paez, 5th-year senior, another presence, 319 pounds. He had only 1 quarterback hurry and 4 run stops last year. So I'd love just to see him do a little more. But this is where we're seeing the Luke Fickell aspect. Like, you know what? You guys were okay. You were great at bending but not breaking. You didn't allow a ton behind you.
Right.
But against the Big Ten, there are not a lot of explosive teams here. So let's bring another guy.
Well, real quick before we go on the next guy with Gio, now with Fickell being there, he played last year 50-50 in the A gap and 50-50 in the B gap. Do you think he stays on the A, or do you think they're going to keep, switching them back and forth?
I think it's more like 60-40. I still think because they're not super deep.
Okay.
You've got to have a guy that's used to doing it.
Right.
So I think you're going to see 60-40 A. I think it's smart for them. He's not going to hurt you.
Right.
But he's also not going to blow you away.
Exactly.
So that's why I think he's going to be a 60-40 guy right there. But that's the whole point of Kurt Neal.
Yeah. Yep.
He's a freshman at 290 pounds, 3 games last year, 3 tackles, 3 solos, a quarterback hurry, 2 run stops, all in the A gap. That's why I think you might see Paez maybe he might be 60-40 or even 70-30 B.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because the kid's so good.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Yeah. So I would love to see him just stay there and be the main presence. They're going to rotate a little bit, so that's probably why. But I would love to see 1A, 1B. That's it.
I'm with it.
I would love to see a 70-30 out of Gio at the B.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to happen, but I think it would be better for them on a personal standpoint.
Right.
Let's get to the defensive ends real quick. Isaiah Mullins, 6-year senior. Got his COVID year, obviously.
Right.
6 games, 6 tackles, 3 solos, 1 Havel, 6 quarterback hurries, 2 quarterback hits. I don't love it for you, bro. Like, Wisconsin's bend, don't break. They're not going to – you're not worried about them scaring you defensively on your quarterback.
Right.
But that's why you bring your defensive coordinator in that absolutely just gets after it. So because James Thompson Jr., 11 games last year, 14 tackles, 5 solos, 6.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. I think we're going to see at least triple that. I think we're going to see 6.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see 6 quarterback hits at least. He had 7 quarterback hurries. I think we're going to see double that, at least 14 to 20. I think James Thompson Jr. has a breakout year, like legit breakout year. And I think that he's going to go from, we don't really know this guy to, hey, he's going to be on the Senior Bowl watch list the following year. We're going to be talking to Coach Nagy real quick about him. Like, hey, did you watch
think? Yeah.
He's on your list next year, of watch guys. And that's if he doesn't decide to, jump ship, because I'm telling you right now, he's going to have a big year. It's these numbers that you saw this year, just, you're going to see, numbers. And I'm excited for him personally.
I like it. Let me dive into these linebackers. You want to talk about a senior that's going to be at the Senior Bowl? I'm going to plant my flag in the spring and say that middle linebacker Meme and Jongmeta is going to be at the Senior Bowl for the Wisconsin Badgers this year. Last year alone, he's a 50th senior. He is 6 foot, 240 pounds. In 12 games last year, he was 5 tackles away from 100. Right? He had 95 tackles, 51 solo, 12.5 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks. He had a pick. He had a pass defense, 8 quarterback hits, 14 quarterback hurries, and a gaudy 44 run stops.
Yeah.
Jared.
Those are Joe Schober's numbers.
The kid's going to be there. He's going to be at the Senior Bowl. We're going to be talking about this kid, and they'll be like, oh, man, he just – why was nobody talking about, this gentleman out of Wisconsin all year? He's going to be a guy. Write the name down.
Can we just call him Meta?
That's fine. And Meta. And Meta will call me. At the end of the first name, and Meta. I'm with it. All right, now you got a couple other guys. Linebacker Darrell Peterson. He's a redshirt sophomore, 6'1", 247 pounds. In 12 games last year, he had 27 tackles, 16 solo, which I like to see. I mean, the numbers are small, but he's at 75% of his tackles being solo. He had 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 5 QB hurries, 2 QB hits, a pass defense, a fumble return. And I like this, 14 run stops. I'm liking that. And you got his backup, from what I'm reading right now, Peterson's 1, Caden Johnson's 2. He's a 4th-year junior, 6'2", 248 pounds. He had 21 tackles, 15 solo, a half tackle for loss, 4 QB hurries, and 8 run stops. The guy backing up and Meta would be Jack Chaney. He's a junior, 5'11", 233 pounds. He played 12 games last year. He had 33 tackles, 22 solo. Another one where you over 50% of your tackles is solo. I mean, you don't need the help. You can do it on your own. 4 tackles for loss, a sack, a pick. He had 4 QB hits, 5 hurries. He also had 16 run stops. This is another guy I like. I think the numbers are going to go up this year. That's Jordan Turner, 4th-year junior, 6'1", 235 pounds. He played 13 games last year, right? He had 65 tackles, 37 solo. He had 5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 15 QB hurries. He only had 3 hits, right? He had a pick, a pass defense, a fumble, and 25 run stops. Now, he's not on this show. He's a head-to-head guy. But we spoke a little bit on head-to-head about how he's got a love for Sanborn. That would be a guy, Clutch Rush, Silent Russ. I don't know if anybody knows, but Sanborn's little brother, Brian Sanborn, is in Wisconsin. We're going to keep carrying the torch, keep carrying the tradition. He's a redshirt sophomore. All right, he's 6'1", 220 pounds. Didn't play much last year. Only played 3 games. He had 8 tackles, 5 solo, and 3 run stops. I don't know if Sanborn makes a name for himself this year. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a learning process for him. I think the following year, you'll see Sanborn kind of come into his own in the linebacker position because they got some dogs in front of him. But it's a name to know, and it's a name to keep in your back pocket. Those Debbie guys out there, lock them up. The last middle linebacker I got to talk about is Spencer Lyle. He's a senior, 6'2", 235 pounds. He very little numbers. He only played 4 games last year. He had 1 tackle. But I'm telling you right now, and Meta is the guy you're going to want to – we're giving him a nickname. I planted my flag. He's going to be at the Senior Bowl. He's going to be a dude in the Big Ten at linebacker. He very cool could be a top 5 linebacker in the Big Ten this year.
Hey, can we just ask Coach Nagy, can we just get my guy, an invite?
Early.
And can we get our, name, like, hey, your P2P guys are here for you. And Meta deserves an invite. We're asking now. Just let it happen because we're going to be there.
Nagy, I can be a pain in the butt. I will keep tagging you and keep tagging you until you get him his invite. So, if you don't want to hear me all year, you might want to get that out early.
Yeah, let's get this done. So I'm with you. I love it. I love Brian Sanborn. All the Sanborn brothers are good, by the way. Like,
yeah,
all of them.
Football's in the blood. It's just part of the pedigree.
Yeah, it's the pedigree, and he's going to get his time for sure. To this DB group is solid.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm gonna let you have this guy because you're a BC guy. So I'll give you the first two, and then I'll go from there.
All right. So my guy transferred from BC. That's Jason Matry. He's a 6-year senior. He's got that he's got that last, COVID year with him. He's taking and running. He's 5'10", 180 pounds. 12 games last year, had 42 tackles, 22 solo. Again, we're at the over 50%. You're doing it on yourself. You could be on an island. He had 2 tackles for loss, a sack, an interception, 6 pass defenses, right? 2 QB hits, a hurry, and 7 run stops. Which means my man's not afraid to get in the backfield. My man's not afraid to tackle in the box. Like, he can play down in the box if necessary. I think you're going to see, and he's been taken, I got him highlighted in yellow because everything I'm reading this spring is he's your nickelback 1, right? He's that dude for the Badgers. And then backing him up, it could be because this backup is out all spring, and Max Lofi, he's a 4th-year junior, 5'10", 190 pounds. He only played 11 games last year, but, my man Matry had better numbers. He only had 15 tackles, 10 of them were solo. He had a pick and 1 run stop. I'm telling you now, Jason Matry is a dude you're going to want to watch.
Yeah, I think he's going to get playing time. Obviously, that's Luke Fickell, bringing in, players that he knows is going to help his team. And it's a good move. I love Matry. Obviously, the DB room, cornerbacks in general, really solid. Ricardo Hallman, junior, 5'10", 180 pounds, 10 games last year, 9 tackles, 7 solos, half tackle for loss, interception, 3 pass deflections. More just a drop-in coverage guy.
Yes.
I don't expect you to tackle people, like just what you are, right? Amon Williams, 5'10", 180 pounds, 10 games, 2 tackles and a solo. Again, these guys are just sitting back and waiting. Nothing crazy. Alexander Smith, we thought 6-year senior, could also be a guy that we really expect to see at the Senior Bowl. 7 games, 17 tackles, 12 solos, 2 tackles for loss, 2 pass deflections, 5 run stops. He's a senior presence. He's a guy that, deserves to be looked at. Might not be, an NFL, let's draft you on the first, in the beginning, but could be a really good special teams guy and could show you more. And that's why we would love to see him in the Senior Bowl, because the Senior Bowl really, vaults guys. And we're seeing it right now in the draft process. And, shout out to that. He's a guy that really, especially 6-year seniors.
Now, Jerry, we're talking Senior Bowl. I've been patient. I've been waiting. He was going to be my guy before Meta. I want you to talk about him because I know you're going to get all fired up about him. But that man, Latu,
dude,
I think he's going to be at the Senior Bowl too.
I would love to see it. 13 games last year. He's a senior. He's, he's defensive captain. 55 tackles, 38 solos, 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions, 3 pass deflections, 2 quarterback hits, 2 quarterback hurries, 14 run stops as a safety. Sidney Brown.
Yeah.
Does it come to mind? That's what I'm thinking here.
He's close to 200 pounds.
We watch Sidney Brown shooting up draft boards, right? Because we know Chase. Chase has got all the love. Sidney showed out the Senior Bowl, showed up the Combine, and your boy Latu needs to show out the Senior Bowl and show out the Combine, because he's just a guy, and he's just a guy that works. So
I'm going to give him a guy that nobody knew about, right? And they probably won't know much about him until like the end of the year when the numbers stop piling up and they start, divvying out who they're going to send to this bowl game and send to the Senior Bowl or whatever. I'm going to give my comp early. He's my Jamie Robinson out of this class in the safety department.
Ooh.
All right? He's my Jamie Robinson, a kid who can hit hard. He's always around the ball. Doesn't have a problem, getting runs. Jamie Robinson won me over when it was drills. And he lined up on the right side of the field and pointed to Rashee Rice and said, I want you. You're the dude. You're supposed to be wide receiver 1 in the Senior Bowl. Let's go. 3 plays in a row, and he got the better of Rashee Rice in all 3 plays.
Hey, you already know I'm a James Robinson guy. Like, I mean, I love him. My guy Braden Willis loves him. He thought that the world of him. He's like one of the best. He thought he was the best safety there. And Braden's nothing to mess around. He's 6'3", former wide receiver playing tight end, do everything in Oklahoma. And they both told each other, like, hey, both these guys, you know, Jamie said good things about Braden. Braden said good things about Jamie. And, you know, saw each other in a bowl game.
Right.
It's impressive. I love that comp. A 3-star to megastar is what we call Jamie. So we're huge fans. I mean, I understand this is Wisconsin, but you guys have to understand we are here for you guys growing in general. So, and this is a battle too. So I'm loving it. I love that comp. So we're literally gonna go almost a year from now. And talk about pull this tape up and like, hey, we can't wait to see you at the Senior Bowl because here we are.
Called it, right?
Yeah, I'm excited. That's a good one. We got 2 guys for sure that we really want to see the Senior Bowl. Coach Nagy.
I love it. All right, I'm gonna take these last 2. You got Hunter Whirlers. He's a junior, right? 6'2", 210 pounds. They got this odd position in Wisconsin called the BG. I guess it's like the style position, right?
Well, it's kind of it's like Oklahoma's other linebacker, right? Or
whatever we want to call it.
So
that's their weird position. But right now, Hunter Whirlers is taking all the first team reps. 6'2", 210 pounds. He's a junior. He's played 6 games, 21 tackles, 13 solo, tackle for loss, a pick, and a QB hurry. He also had 9 run stops. And then you got Austin Brown. He's a sophomore, 6'1", 204 pounds, 4 games, 2 tackles, 2 solo, 2 QB hits, and a run stop. I think out of all the positions, I think the BG position could be the biggest battle. I think they're the closest in talent and numbers, and it's only a year differential in junior and sophomore. I think that might be a best battle. But overall, all right, before we close it out, right at 52 minutes, we usually go an hour when we do these team previews, right? Give me a record, right? A predicted record. And give me a star player out of here that you think is going to creep up in the rankings this year.
Well, I mean, I want to say Braelon, right? Because I already.
But that's everybody's. He's not. He's already up the rankings. He's not going to creep.
Doug Walker, right? So, I'm kind of going to give you the guy that you brought up earlier in wide receiver.
Okay.
I really, really like Dike or Dike, whatever.
Dike, yeah.
I think he's going to really climb. I think he's going to be kind of our guy from the Wisconsin last year who kind of grew on us. So he's the guy I expect to come up. I'm going to give you a 10-3 record.
Ooh. Okay.
And I know it's crazy.
No, hey, listen, it's not that crazy.
But it's Luke Fickell.
Yeah, because I had him at 8. I was going 8 and 5, right?
So are we going with 8 being the over-under?
Okay, yeah, let's go with 8 being the over-under. I'm with that. I'm with that all day. But for you to get to 10, that means
I'm telling you,
they beat one of the big guys. They beat Michigan, Ohio State, one of the 2.
I said early in the show when we rewind it, I think they beat Michigan. So
who's the losses? Who's the 3 losses?
I have to go back into it. I don't know if they played Penn State this year.
They lose to Ohio State?
I think they lose to Ohio State. I've got to pull up the thing real quick.
They got Purdue, Washington State, Rutgers, Iowa.
All right, I got it right now. So they beat Buffalo. They beat Georgia Southern. They beat Rutgers. They beat Washington State.
Okay.
They beat Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They beat Iowa. They're 7-0.
They beat Illinois. I think they beat Illinois.
Right? And again, I'm scrolling through right now.
So you're saying they're going to go in Ohio State 9-0?
Well, not only do they go, they're staying at home at Ohio State.
Yes.
They play Ohio State at Wisconsin.
Hey, and that's a TBD. So that game, I'm telling you right now, if they are 9-0, that game is prime time. No, they play Ohio State.
So I don't get the Michigan win. So I'm going to tell you now, prime time, Wisconsin, Ohio State. If they win this game, right? I'm worried about them slipping against Minnesota at the end.
My game is the game. My game is the Nebraska game. I'm going to say right now.
Again,
that's the turning point for both teams. If Nebraska wins, I think that game is going to be solidify who's going to be number 3 in the Big Ten.
I mean, right now, I'm going to tell you, Wisconsin is going to – they could run the table.
Are you undefeated?
I think they lose in the bowl game because it's going to be the playoffs.
Right.
I mean, if I'm looking at the schedule and you're a Wisconsin fan right now,
you got to be happy.
You have got to be like, you know what? I mean, we're talking about this. Iowa's scary. Let's be real. Iowa is always going to be scary. But you get Iowa, Northwestern, Nebraska, and Ohio State at home? At home. Your toughest games of the year are at home.
Why am I getting this bad juju vibe of like going into Indiana and just kind of looking past them?
Because you could look past Indiana.
You know what I mean? And like,
especially because and thing is, and here's why. If they beat Ohio State, the hangover is there. It's 100%. Like, you can't be more hyped than beating Ohio State. You have a chance to legit run the table. Northwestern's a tough game. No matter, I don't care if they won one game the year before. They're going to be a tough match.
Yeah, but they got a cupcake stop.
To be different. They're going to be very different.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're one of those teams like Oklahoma, right? Oklahoma lost 5 games less than, 7 points. So, Nebraska was the same thing the year before.
How is Wisconsin playing Georgia Southern?
You got to play. I mean, somebody got to play Georgia Southern. So,
yeah. How about Georgia doesn't play their conference? And you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, bro, talk about cupcake. I have to say it because I gave Michigan a whole bunch of slack last year for the cupcake stop. Right? Buffalo, Rutgers, Washington State, who has lost everybody.
Here's the only thing I'm worried about, right? And Washington State, the only reason you could lose that game is you beat Buffalo, right? You don't really know your team yet, right? Because you change so many pieces, especially quarterback. You already know with Washington State going to throw the ball, so they going to do whatever, right? They are scary. They were scary last year. We called a few games like this upset. Watch it coming. So if originally said 10-3, right? Watch out for Washington. That's the one game in the first 7 games that honestly scares me is Washington State because I just don't know, and it's at Pullman. So
yeah. So for me, it's Washington State and Indiana. I just have a feeling that Indiana is that huge look-ahead game. Even if they had lost one going into that game, right? They'll be rolling. They'll have probably 5 or 6 wins in a row.
So either they have the hangover from beating Ohio State, which would be a huge move because both teams didn't bring a quarterback, right? Both teams have a great running back. Mm-hmm. We agree Ohio State has the best wide receiver in football in Marvin Harrison Jr.
Facts.
If they can, and that's a big if, they're either going to be 1 loss going into that game or undefeated going into that game. Because I only see and then if they do win they lose that game, they lose to Ohio State and they lose to Indiana. That's your 3 losses. But I think they beat Indiana, and I'm worried about the Nebraska or Minnesota game. The Minnesota game at the end
could be the hangover game.
Could be that could be like, hey, we have to win this, and we're in the Big Ten championship game. That's what I'm worried about for them. But I wouldn't be completely shocked they're 7-0 going into Ohio State.
Yeah, that I could see. I could see the 7-0,
which is crazy, by the way.
Considering what they were last year, considering they had Graham Mertz at quarterback last year, like considering all of that to even be in the realm of being like 8, 9, 10 wins. Okay.
I'm going to tell you right now, wins it's happening. Like, I'm just going to give you this Vegas bet right now. If the Vegas over-under is 8, bet it. Because we think that they're going to – that means you think they have 5 losses. I think they have 3 losses.
I say
both
5.
Think they 8
yeah,
wins.
I think 8's the over on the line. I think that's perfect line for, red or green line right there. I say 5 losses because it's the first year in a new system. Not everybody might hop on right away, but they got a cupcake side.
Real quick, right? Here's the thing: the over under for Colorado is 4.
Stupid.
But they had 2 wins last year, so is it really that stupid? We're talking new coach, new system, new quarterback, new offense, new defense, whole new team.
It's not new. He took Jackson State and he brought it to Colorado.
He brought in more than that. But
no, I know. Yeah.
Still Jackson State versus the Division I football. So
have you seen Travis Hunter lately?
Travis Hunter was a 5-star. He's English.
I'm talking about on wide receiver. All right. Have you seen Jimmy Horn Jr. lately?
You already know I'm a Jimmy Horn Jr.
He's my guy,
pedigree.
bro.
Pedigree. Like,
bro, he is balling out. He is so twitchy. And it's ridiculous.
So if they're 4, I've really got to check the Vegas odds right now.
It's got to be 7. Probably 7.
If it's 7, dude, I'm going to lay $500 today.
Yeah, if it's 7, I'll put something on that. But all right, I love it. We're right at the hour mark. You say 10, I say 8. I think we got 8 is the over/under. Watch out for the Badgers. Jump around. That's all I got to say. I think it's time for something new in Wisconsin. I think that what they brought in, the coaching staff, Longo is going to change that offense immensely. And if you don't know, Jared's with my guy as well. Chimere Dike is a dude you better know about, and you better know about meta. Jared, take us away.
Hey, until next week. Let's go.